Whoa, what's happening? The world's collapsing. Whoa, whoa, this is crazy. Whoa.
Was that good?
Yeah, great.
You sure? Maybe we should do another take.
No, we're good. Just roll the intro.
Wait, we can't do that. That's too similar to Donkey. Sure, fine. We'll workshop the title later.
Viewfinder's unique space-manipulating photo mechanic is reminiscent of the perspective skewing mechanics of Superliminal, but remains fresh and technically impressive. I think. I mean, the most I've been able to create is a character with movement so floaty, you could use it as a life preserver, so maybe I'm not the one to ask. Viewfinder spawns the player into a space of floating gardens and modern, clean, concrete architecture cluttered with mundane objects that give the space not only the feeling of having been lived in, but also abandoned. A point-driven home as a bridge collapses beneath your feet, complete with a meta joke as Jessie, the unseen accomplice on comms, remarks that falling doesn't hurt, though she doesn't mention if standing in fire hurts, or if there's friendly fire, so I'll have to check on that later. Initially, the scenery, while pleasant, is nothing to write home about. However, as the game progresses, you'll discover that it isn't just photos that can manipulate the world, but paintings and handheld games and various other items found around the world, leading to moments like the player exploring a home in what appears to be a child's drawing, or going on a stroll through a barcode forest. These scenery changes remain little more than novelties apart from a brief section where they became a puzzle mechanic, but I would have loved to see that mechanic explored further. Speaking of exploring things further,
That's the transition we're going with?
Just read it.
Okay.
statistically, 100% of the people that watch my videos aren't subscribed, so hopefully no one subs so I can reuse this joke on my next video. Now, back to the review. Like most puzzle games, the story is really secondary. Of course, it is possible to have an engaging and powerful story within a puzzle game, but it isn't completely necessary. For Viewfinder, I found myself more engaged by the puzzles themselves than the audio logs littered around the space to seemingly shoehorn in a narrative. I would click on the phonographs to start the logs, but admittedly, I would stop paying attention to the words and focus on the puzzle at hand. Later, the Cheshire-like cat Kate is introduced to further the narrative, which I did find myself more engaged by. Plus, you can pet them. Hold on. No friendly fire. Ultimately, the real appeal of Viewfinder is not found in its story, but in the puzzles themselves. The key mechanic of Viewfinder is the player's ability to take a photograph and place its contents into the world. This ability allows the player to place bridges over gaps, ramps to higher locations, even new rooms and items. And this ability to create also has the ability to destroy and find your way past barriers, which becomes an integral tool along with batteries, levers, copiers, lining up photos in the world, stationary cameras, timed stationary cameras, your own camera, extra film, sound power, timed power, violet structures, doors and bridges based on the environment style, perspective tricks, cameras creating black hole voids, teleportation, scales, out of nowhere, once, and rewind, which serves as a control Z. These mechanics are drip-fed to the player at a reasonable pace, but even so, the sheer amount of mechanics doesn't leave room for them all to be explored. Some show up then disappear for most of the game just to randomly return later. Some are explored briefly and never revisited. With so many mechanics to cover, let's start from the top.
Huh? We're low on time? Start wrapping up? Alright.
The puzzles throughout Viewfinder are interesting and on occasion quite difficult, especially the optional puzzles. And the introduction of the violet structures, akin to anti-portal walls, really started to show the true potential of the photo mechanics. While there are way too many mechanics for the length of the game, all of them were interesting and deserve to be explored further, but my favorite puzzle took all of the fluff and boiled the entire mechanic down to a single photo and a copier. The entire level is contained within that one photo, and the player is tasked with building the level with that one photo like a paintbrush as they build out branching pathways and unwrap this single MC Escher-esque photo into a traversable world. This puzzle proves that under all of the noisy, unexplored mechanics is a sound and interesting concept. Given a longer game, I would love to see the rest of the mechanics fully explored, and I will definitely be keeping an eye out for Viewfinder 2.
Come on, really? That's lame. Can we just cut to black?